You literally cannot mandate somebody to wear a mask knowing that that mask is killing people. It literally is killing people. And we the people are waking up, and we know what citizen's arrest is, because citizen's arrests are already happening, okay? And every single one of you that are obeying the devil's laws are going to be arrested. And you, doctor, are going to be arrested for crimes against humanity. Every single one of you have a smirk behind that little mask, but every single one of you are going to get punished by God. You cannot escape God. You cannot escape God. I'm going to say that again. You cannot escape God, not even with the mask or 6 feet. Okay? 6 feet, like I said before, is military protocol. You're trying to get the people to train them so when the cameras, the 5G comes out, what? They're gonna scan everybody. We gotta get scanned. We gotta get temperatured. The kids have to go to school with masks. Are you insane? Are you crazy? I think all of you should be in a psych ward right the heck now, because none of you know what the hell you are all talking about. This is insane. And then you want to open this meeting with a prayer to God. Are you praying to the devil? Because God is not listening to that prayer, because all of you are practicing the devil's laws. What happened to Bill Gates? Why is he not in jail? Why is Hillary Clinton not in jail? Why are all of these pedophiles that are demanding you all to listen to their rules? Why are they not in jail? Oh, is it because you're part of them? Are you part of the deep
Your
state?
time has expired.
The deep state is going down. And if any of you are in the deep state, you're going down with it.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 3 of The Antidote. Really appreciate you coming back. This is going to be a different type of episode than normal. It's not going to be just me. It's actually going to be an interview with a psychic medium. Her name's Angel Amy. She's fantastic. And it's funny because I was being interviewed on her show, which is called Wings and Things. And it just turned into me interviewing her because she had so much, information to drop. So it's going to be a range of topics that we don't normally cover on Channel Zero. I mean, some aliens and stuff, but more so esoteric. So wanted to get you guys feedback, see if this is something you dig or if you want me to stay away from this kind of stuff. Just want to give people what they want, but this is, definitely what I'm into. And just wanted to give you a couple things before we jump in here and start it up. This was actually filmed like a week and a half ago. Back then, actually, but it wasn't that long ago. But my opinion on aliens was really up for grabs. I was kind of looking for answers. So you'll notice that in this, that I'm very inquisitive. And you'll notice in the last episode of the Channel Zero show that I have a much more firm grounding on it. Because since this conversation, I've done more research, and honestly, it backs up what Angel Amy says. Definitely recommend people check out Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. It just came out this year. It's on Amazon. I know that was like $5 to rent, but some really good information, backs up what she has to say, and these are like real whistleblowers and stuff. So anyways, let me know if you like it. This one's a bit longer than normal, but I'll kick it off here, and thanks for watching.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 2 of Wings and Things. Today I'm really, really excited because I have my buddy E here, and we're going to talk about lots of fun things. For those of you that don't know me, I am Angel Amy, and I am a spiritual teacher and a psychic medium. And I was born with the gift of remembering heaven or remembering the other side. So when I originally met E, I felt that we had these unbelievable fun conversations, and we wanted to share a little bit of that with you today. So thank you so much for coming on and doing this with me.
Absolutely. I'm so excited. Thank you for welcoming me into your world.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is where I'd love to begin is you are actually a Reiki master.
I am.
And so I am as well, as you know. And what was your calling or urge to become a Reiki master? What was the interest that you had there?
It's kind of an interesting story. So it started off, I I was typically I'd go on vacation. Every time I went on vacation, I would get a massage. And there was this trip I went on that they were all booked up. And I started looking through the book of things that they offered, and Reiki was on there, and I had known nothing about it. So I started looking it up, started researching it online. And I was like, you know what? When I get home, I'm going to sign up. I'm going to find a place local to me and check it out. So I went in and I set up an appointment with this guy, and he instantly, right off the bat, he like was seeing things in me and whatnot. And he goes, "You see the world differently." And I said, "What? Well, I'm kind of a conspiracy theorist, so maybe that's what you mean." And he goes, "No, physically you see it differently." And I was like, what is he talking about? But the thing is when I was younger, I actually, I didn't know why I saw speckles. And we've talked about this before. And it's this weird thing where I see all around people, all in space, like speckles. It's weird. And it's not those, like the floaters that people see in their eyes and things like that. It's definitely not that. And when I was younger, I thought that I had like a vision problem. So I actually tried my hardest to kind of filter it out in a way. And in doing so, it kept coming up. And anyways, long story short, he brought this up to me, and he's like, "You see, things moving around and all this stuff." He's like, "You see energy." And I was like, oh my God, this guy knows what I'm talking about. And then I had the most incredible experience when I was on the table. I actually felt, because I don't know if most people know what Reiki is, but it's, it's a healing technique that's, usually through the hands. It's an energy flow from the universe in and out. The person is basically a conduit. And it was weird because he had his hands on my chest, but then I felt a second set of hands on my shoulders. And I was like, whoa, what is this? So I asked him about it after. He's like, that was one of your guides that came in and you needed to relieve some tension. And so I was totally fascinated by everything. And he said by the end of the session, he's like, look, he's like, I don't say this often to people. He's like, but it seems like you have some kind of gift. And he's like, if you would like to learn Reiki, he's like, I would love to teach you. And then that's kind of just, thought about it for a week. And I was like, you know what? What do I have to lose? This would be a great skill to have. It's amazing stuff.
Yeah, I love that. And I've shared with you as a little girl, well, even as an adult, I can also see the speckles. I mean, we know that as Angel Amy, I see, hear, and feel spirit. However, I do know when you ever said the speckles, I'm like, you do? You see the speckles too? Like two little kids. So I don't know if you know this, but I have an Irish twin. Her name's Amanda, and we're 13 months apart. So she's 13 months older than me. And when we were little, we shared a room. I have a brother as well that's younger than me. We shared a room, and I remember saying to her, can you see the speckles? And she was like, what? And I first explained, like, I can see the speckles in the air. Like I call them like fuzz. I'm like, you can't see the fuzz, almost like static or like static electricity or. However, I want to add to this a little bit. When I close my eyes, I can actually see the speckles in the darkness and then see it. It almost looks like the universe, and the speckles are in the universe. So do you see that too?
That's exactly what I saw. And I just thought something was wrong with me. Right?
So she's like, no, go to sleep, right? So, because she doesn't see this too, and that's okay. That's okay. So, I know that it's energy and that we're made up of energetic, we have energies inside these bodies, and some of us have just come here to earth so many times that we've mastered these ways of seeing what I refer as Angel Amy as seeing through the veil between earth and third dimension and heaven or the other side, which begins in fourth dimension and on. So the speckles in the fuzz, or whatever we want to call it, is actually the ability. You are actually seeing through the veil. Isn't that cool?
That makes me feel really cool.
Yeah.
That's
So
wild.
I do want to add to this a little bit for people that can relate with this, because I do know even on a personal level, and usually people that can see the speckles and that understand what the speckles are people that are able to see situations and either people and situations in a much more in-depth way. So meaning maybe I'll use this language, underlying reasons for maybe, or understanding of why certain things exist in your life or exist in someone else's life, whether they're sad or they're going through something, or usually they can kind of put pieces of the puzzle together. So it's seeing, like seeing speckles or seeing energy, but it's also when we move into like as humans and how we operate here on earth, it's those of us that can see in that way can also see a deeper reason for things, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. And it also kind of makes you more empathic in a way, if you think about it. Because I've taken on other people's feelings without trying, and that's no fun at all. And like for example, I don't know if you experienced this, but like in big crowds, like let's say at like amusement parks or shopping malls or whatever, like I've been told that I kind of cast my aura or energy too far, and I let people in that are negative, and it affects me because all of these people's energies are affecting me. I don't know if you've run into that at all.
Yeah, well, actually, my spiritual teaching take on it is that, empathy is the ability to feel others' feelings, and compassion is the ability to feel others' feelings, but you actually want to then take what they're holding on to away. So compassion is like the next step to empathy. And once one masters compassion, they're in their lifetimes, it then think about let's talk vibrations, okay? So we know that compassion is compassion and love and peace are really high vibrations.
Correct.
And then when you feel sad and angry and guilty or whatever it may be, we know that that's a very low vibration. You feel quite different.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have these high levels of compassion in your body, that means that your energy body is resonating at a much higher frequency. And when we resonate at a much higher frequency, we're then able to pick up higher frequencies. And anything that is in fourth dimension or is in heaven and beyond or on the other side, whatever is beyond our human space and time is actually a higher frequency than our physical body. So once you have this high level of compassion in your body, you're able to pick up those higher frequencies around you, and a side effect is the speckles. Isn't that cool?
That is really cool. Just came full circle on that.
Yeah. And right, one more little thing before we move on is that enabling is actually a compassionate person that doesn't have boundaries.
Ooh.
So really think about that. So the more boundaries you hold in your body, you're able to control the empathy and the compassion. And hence, when your example of taking on negative energies, it's coming from like that personal power place in your body, so that you're able to sit in your body, in your place of power, and be able to discern what is your energy and what is the other person's. Okay? Yeah.
I like this. I get a lot to learn.
I know, as we go along. So tell me a little bit about, you had like a question about dimensions or your own interpretation about them. I'd love to, because I mentioned them a few times. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you obviously already mentioned the third and fourth and beyond in terms of dimensions. And I know we've talked before, big fan of the show, The OA, which kind of like led me down another path. So I actually have a few questions about dimensions. I mean, obviously we live in the third. You said fourth is kind of heaven and beyond, right? Now, how far does it go? I guess is my first question.
Okay, so to answer the first question, yes, so we live in third dimension and the other side begins in fourth, and it actually goes pretty high. It goes our universe or our heavenly body goes all the way up to at least like 18, or it may go into the 20s. I'm actually not sure. So I know it goes really, really, really high. And then what happens once it thins out at the top,
Hmm.
we actually move into a different universe, and we'll get to that. So I do believe that there are other universes. So these
Okay.
dimensions and how this is how it applies to humans and humanity is that we're souls inside these bodies, right? And that's energy.
Hmm.
And when we come here, we basically come here with the sole purpose and the sole mission to enhance or raise the vibration of our soul. And when that happens, you actually return, when you pass away and die, you return back to a higher dimension. So the only way that we can get to higher dimensions is to be a soul, come into a human body, and have a human experience.
Mm.
And if you can get to the highest realm of our heavenly dimension, our heavenly universe, you can access everything below it.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Interesting. So that just brings up a lot more questions, I guess. So,
Mm-hmm.
where is it like you have to achieve a certain amount of or a certain level of vibration to be able to, after X amount of lives in, the 3D world, to accelerate up to the fourth? Is it like just curious? I mean, obviously, before we come back, we come up with, all right, here's the people I want in my life, here's the lessons I want to learn, things like that. That I believe that is that called like the Akashic record or something like that.
Yeah, so like your Akashic records are basically records that are a part of your blueprint.
Hmm.
So your blueprint is think of it like the map of your soul. And so we can, a human, it might take a few lives to ascend to a higher level or a higher dimension, or you can do it in just one lifetime. So my goal as Angel Amy is to get as many people as I can to ascend in this lifetime so they can move on to even a much better place.
Sure.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Okay. So, and then I guess, so we've talked about there's higher and lower dimensions. I guess my next question is, what's lower than 3D? I mean, it sounds like we've probably already been there, right? Like 1D and 2D. Is that, I'm just conceptualizing here.
So honestly, so when I was born in, the mid 70s. And when I came in, I had the ability for whatever reason to remember fourth dimension and higher.
Hmm.
And so this is why I'm passionate about it and I teach about it. I honestly don't know what is below us. So do we call that hell? Right? Do we
Mm,
call that like lower vibrations? I mean, a lower realm? I'm actually not sure.
interesting.
And but I do in my gut and from working with spirit so intimately, I do believe that uh, hell or a lower dimension is a fear-based methodology developed by religion.
Okay. No, that's totally fair. Yeah.
I do. I
Absolutely.
do. I think once we I think once as souls we cross over into fourth dimension and beyond, I think you're actually surprised who's there with you. Now, that's not to say, like, I do know and I do remember that lower fourth dimension
Mm-hmm.
isn't really where you want to be. It's not. So meaning it's not a bad place. It's, you know,
Better than here.
it's if for quick conversation, yes, it's better than here, but it's also not really where you want to be. You want to come back and give it another try. So typically, like, people that pass of things like drug overdoses and or violent means usually are roaming the lower realms.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are low vibratory actions, if you will.
Yes. Right.
So we have higher and lower. What about lateral? Yeah, are they, because like the show The OA, for example, are there multiple realities going on that we're involved in? You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I love the OA. You know, I was a big fan of that. Loved it. I love when you told me that you watched that as well. Yes, it does run lateral. So here's what's interesting is there isn't a time continuum in the dimensions. Third dimension is the only dimension that has time. And so when we cross over, there isn't a time continuum. So for instance, as Angel Amy, if I decide to come out of my mind and into my spiritual body and connect to fourth dimension and beyond, I actually can go visit, let's say, you know, you and I are both in Massachusetts. So I could visit downtown Boston in 1946 when I wasn't even alive. And
That's
I
cool.
can tell you, right, everything that I'm seeing. The only way that you would be able to prove it would be to get some historical photos and historical books, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I do know how to bend time in that way. So meaning if I have mastered this as a spirit having a human experience and I can move lateral through time, then any beings or spirits in third dimension or higher are able to move through lateral space and time.
Okay. All right. So that leads me into deja vu. Where does that fit in? Because I've always thought that maybe there's multiple realities going on, and this was my basically I screwed up last time. This is my, you know, intuition giving me a second chance to do it right this time. Am I along the right lines there?
Yeah. So I honestly, I'm passionate about this because when we sleep, we go somewhere different. I mean, we know this, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are conscious beings when we're in an awakened state or when we're awake, and we are unconscious when we're sleeping. But your soul is alive and it has to go somewhere. So you legit know how to leave your physical body and come back in. And when you leave, so let me give you this little piece of information, is that as humans, we receive two gifts and two gifts only before we come in. You get free will, right? Mm-hmm. Free will, which is the ability or let's call it the mindset that you're human. And it's basically a gift because it gives you human choice. Okay. And yeah. And then you get two guardian angels. So you know, I'm big into the angels. So you get two guardian angels that support you and guide you and love you unconditionally. So my point about bringing this up is that we have free will. So when you go to sleep, you unconsciously have this knowing that isn't in your mind, it's in your soul, which is in your physical body, that I'm choosing this restful, peaceful state, and I am going to come back in my body because I I am human and I want to fulfill my lifetime, my life purpose in this lifetime. So when you sleep, you are able to move through the dimensions, and certain things happen while you're asleep within the dimensions, because we're all an energetic recipe here on earth. So we're as humans, we are sovereign beings, but we also are energetically have cause and effect with each other like magnets.
Okay.
So if it's highest and best for you to switch your recipe and say spirit on the other side agrees to this because there's a greater good for the world, then in sleep state, you may have an energetic experience. Now, we wake up, okay? And when you wake up, here's the deja vu, is that you have these human experiences, but your soul is inside your body and your soul remembers if you have been through something before. So my quick explanation is I believe that deja vu happens in sleep state. There are occurrences that happen when you're unconscious that you remember in your human awakened state.
Okay. All right. So it's not an interdimensional type thing. It's more of a within this dimension. Well, well, when you sleep, you obviously move, but I'm saying like it all kind of stays within this reality, or no?
Not necessarily, because we're not in reality. So, all right. So
We're in the
this
Matrix?
we're in an illusion right now. You and I talking right now, this is a complete illusion. Okay? So when you're sleeping and you're because let me back up the bus, because we're humans, and these inside these physical bodies, we have limiting beliefs. And the limiting beliefs are housed inside what's known as the ego. And the truths inside your body. So my deep compassion and sincere compassion for humans, for other humans, is housed inside my soul. So right, so there are times that I step out of this human illusion and cross over this veil I speak of and into my truth, right? And so so when we're all these tangible things that we can touch are actually linked to the ego. Okay.
Wow.
So I got to think of where we're going from here, but yeah. So you had said inter like cross dimension, like
Correct. Yeah. Because I always thought that deja vu had to do something with like, like string theory and like other realities coexisting, and something happened here that, you can prevent here, but it doesn't sound like that's the case. This is more of on a singular level for this life, if you will, because
well, I want to hear more about your theory, because this is where you and I have like this beautiful like crossover, spiritual crossover. So
yeah, well,
tell us a little more about it, and then I'll teach from it.
Well, let me give you an example. So,
okay.
For example, this probably happens, I'd say once a month at least, where I'm driving and I'll pass something. I'll pass, whether it be a car, a human, a light post, something like that. And I'll have this like not vision, but like this thought of like, or actually it is kind of a vision, like of me hitting it, whether it's a person or a car or whatever. And I'm like, whoa, is this deja vu? Is this telling me like, pay attention here, in another life you screwed up there, kind of thing. So that's what kind of makes me think that it's something like a warning, if you will, but maybe it's a warning from what I had acquired in my sleep, is kind of along the lines of what you're saying.
Could be, or what you're describing as deja vu, I would in my repertoire, I would describe as psychic
Yikes.
knowings, right?
Yeah, but they're all like negative things. They're not positive.
Well, okay, so I'm gifted in only seeing the positive things in people.
Hmm.
So I guess it depends if your energy or the way your gift is supposed to be channeled or used. It could be for like safety and protection. It
Mm.
could be, right? Or you could be having like visions of things that maybe happened to you in a past life, which is connected to a different dimension, right?
Right.
Oh, because it doesn't just erase, because it's energy. Energy doesn't just go away, it lives on forever.
It can't be
So,
destroyed.
right, it cannot be destroyed. So basically, you could be having a energetic uh, vision from a past life in which you're in this lifetime, your soul is looking to help you heal that,
Interesting.
to then enhance your vibration, to enhance the frequency so you can return to a higher dimension, because
Gotcha.
it's probably like a job, or it could be another soul waiting for you in a different dimension once it's your time to cross
Move
back
on.
over. Right.
Hopefully not anytime soon, but
Right. No, not anytime soon. Right.
yeah, well,
So
that's pretty eye-opening then. Cool.
yeah, so that answers your questions on dimensions
Yes. Yeah.
somewhat. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's still like so hard to comprehend with the human mind, but yeah, I mean, for what I was looking for answers, absolutely.
Right. Okay. I let me just tell you one more thing. I
Hmm.
want you to think of it this way. So we're in Massachusetts, and right now, time-wise, it's a little bit before 11 a.m. And right now in London, so what's London, like 3, 4 hours,
I think they're
6?
5 or 6, something like that.
Okay. So let's pretend it's 5
Okay.
for sake of this explanation. And so right now, you and I are talking at almost 11 a.m. and they're talking at what's that? Just pretend it's like 3 p.m. there, right?
Okay. Yep.
Okay, or whatever. So they're having, they're the same moment in time, but it's not the same time.
Yeah. It's kind of
It's
messed up.
legit not the same time. But when you just have that moment, that aha moment, that there are things happening all the time around us that are in our time, but not in the same time frame.
Mm.
It's deep.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
I know. So, yeah, like, are we allowed to move on to aliens?
Yeah, that's really where I wanted
Okay.
to go next.
Okay.
So if you want me to kick it off, I will. I mean, obviously, there's been a lot of stuff coming out recently about UFOs. There's been stuff in the past, Roswell and the supposed UFO crash. And I've had a lot. My theory behind aliens has actually changed over time. I mean, it's tough to deny that in a universe this big that there's other life out there, right? That doesn't erase God. That doesn't erase anything else. There can be other species, but for me, it's changed because it's almost like after reading the Roswell document from I think it was 47. I don't know if you saw that. The guy who described it said that it was very esoteric, interdimensional. Like he made it very hard to decipher what it was back then. And so that got me thinking. And I wanted to see, kind of where you stood on this or what, you're picking up, because I'm wondering now, is it spirits? Is it angels? Is it demons? Or is it just other species that are not human? So I'll
Okay.
kind of start there and let you take the wheel.
Okay. Awesome. So I only teach about things that I either remember or I get direct proof from spirit. Like legit can't even deny that this is like the truth. And I have so many amazing examples, but I'm actually going to use my alien example. I had this experience when I have a daughter, and when she's 12 and a half, and when she was 3, I had this experience where I can feel, as Angel Amy, I can feel in sleep state when something else is in the room. And usually it's like someone's loved one, or it's an angel, or it's a spirit guide, and usually I just roll back over and I allow my human side to sleep and my soul to absorb whatever they're going to work on me or feed me or whatever the case is. So I don't want to get lost in that, but this one particular night, I rolled over and I looked and I saw an alien. And it when I tell you I screamed, I launched my body on the other side of my husband. Like I went over him. Like I moved goodness. Like I've never moved before. And, so I clearly, right? I clearly went into human fear. So what happened was I instantly wanted to quit being Angel Amy. I did. And I had to do some work around this. And I ended up, asking, I believe that when things happen to us, they happen for us, not to us. So why did this happen for me? Like, what do I need to know or see, right? And what I needed to know or see is that once our universe tapers off, there is definitely another universe with other beings in it. And I believe through this experience, it was a being that was coming to offer me a greater vibration of love and compassion than our own universe could offer. And unfortunately, as humans, we are subject to translate energy through our own lens. So for instance, you and I, if you and I were both mediums, which I really believe that it's in you, and and we both connect to the same spirit, like someone's grandfather. And you and I could be getting certain information in about this soul, and you could be getting certain information, different information, and we could actually both be accurate. And and so it's just two different informations, and I may roughly describe him one way, and you would describe him another way. But I may describe him from when he was 35, and you might describe him from when he was 65, and the person confirms that we're both accurate. So my point of this is that we as humans are limited inside these bodies for a reason, and we have to translate these energies. And unfortunately, humans, even, the most the most versed or the best mediums still aren't able to translate these high vibrations of love and compassion that come through the alien realm, that come through the other dimension. So I believe that there's a whole other realm, a whole other universe that these beings come from, and I believe that they're loving, and that they are here to teach us higher frequencies that our own universe isn't able to do.
Okay, so, all right, I like that a lot.
Okay.
So you say another dimension. Do you mean a higher one or a lateral one?
When I say dimension, I really should use the word realm. Like or universe. Like when we think of our universe, we have planets inside our universe. And our heaven is actually on the other side of our universe.
Okay.
It is 100% opposite where Earth is. And if we tried to get there as humans, it would take billions of years. Like we would die, we'd pass away and die before you ever got there. So the only way that you can visit our heaven in our dimensions is to either pass away and move on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you shift your consciousness the way that I choose to do and you visit.
Ah, okay.
Right?
All right.
And
so,
that's what happened in OA, remember?
That's true. Exactly. Yeah. I love that show.
Yeah, she had the ability to visit different
Yes.
dimensions.
So, in one theory I've had as well on aliens is that, like, because we live in the third dimension, if they come here or whatnot, they have to materialize into like whatever our third dimension would perceive, but maybe that's not their actual form. Is that anything that you're privy to?
So check this out. You have this. You're somewhat correct. So
Okay.
when I, for those that don't know me, when I was starting out, I was reading people and I was great at it. And it's reading means doing psychic readings and connecting to people's loved ones. And I got known for that, but it's not my true life path. And so my true life path is to teach and do messages of hope and help people in despair and struggle raise their vibration. So when I first started out, I noticed a few times that there were people that don't have angels. Like I could read someone's angel like that, like they're my very best friends, right? And I started to notice that they had different kinds of beings around them. And so in my world, we call them star seeds. And star seeds are basically, think of loving aliens that come from a different universe that is attached to our universe, right?
Okay.
That come into human, so their alien soul comes into a human body to live here and help raise the frequencies and the vibrations of Earth. And they're actually opening up portals. And these portals help you, and they definitely help people like me because it gives me access to more information when I teach.
Okay. So they're all benevolent? Because I wonder if there's a polar opposite to this.
Could be. You mean, are there some aliens that come in that are negative? Like that don't want to do good?
That maybe are either living among us, or coming through these portals? Or am I just way off base?
I'm actually, this is when Angel Amy is actually asking them to answer.
Oh, okay. I'll let you do your thing.
Because I don't know, right? Because no one's ever asked me this. I love this question. So like, do they come in through the portals? This is when I have to feel it. Hold on.
Yeah.
Do they come in through the portals? Okay, this is what they're telling me. They're telling me that it's not that they're coming. There are energies inside certain humans that call them in. So there are, okay, let me go here. There is a spirit guide that his name's Ashtar. And
Okay, I've heard of him.
Ashtar, okay, cool. Ashtar lives in our heavenly dimension, okay? And Ashtar's job is to bridge the gap between our heavenly dimension and this starseed alien realm, okay?
Okay.
Ashtar actually filters everything. He's pretty high up, but he filters everything down through fifth dimension, which is actually reigned by Christ, the Christ consciousness. And then it gets passed into third dimension. Okay. If something is meant to come in through the portal, right, and we think good, then what would happen is my soul would call something from this other dimension, and it would come in through the portal because it's an energetic recipe that's going to serve me well. Okay.
Okay.
If someone is carrying lower vibrations and they have a lot of, say, depression or sadness or different, in their physical body, then it's not here, but in their body, they would actually, through the ego, not ready, I'm going to call them in through the soul. They're going to call them in through the ego. The ego is actually going to draw in these beings through the portal. But at any given moment, we have free will. And I know as me, I'm back up, right? like step off.
Yeah.
So I know my free will. It's how I go through the grocery store, and I use my free will to not connect to everyone's grandmother, right? That's in heaven.
Gotcha. Well, it's funny because, excuse me, my Reiki teacher, he told me that, now that you're as I was advancing through the levels and now that I'm a master, that my light is brighter, which will attract more negative type entities to me rather than other people being, maybe next to me who don't have as bright of a light. So
what?
I don't know if I'm...
No.
No.
Wait, let me reword what I just heard you say. Please correct me if I didn't hear you correctly.
Yeah.
Okay. He was saying that now that you have this bright light within you, you are now going to attract negative vibrations?
Well, entities or spirits, I mean, it would attract more good too, but it's saying that they'd be trying to kind of quell my light, if you will.
No. So ready? I am passionate. I will tell you as Angel Amy when I don't know something. But this, my friend, I know like the back of my hand, okay, is that we are energetic magnets. And if you're enhancing your light within, that's a beautiful metaphor for high vibrations, right? You are a magnet for love, hope, peace, insert anything beautiful that abundance, right?
Sure.
If you have work to do, right? Or some kind of human struggle or large amounts of lower vibrations, think of low vibrating emotions, then you're like a magnet, you're going to attract in human struggle, human despair, right?
Sure.
Okay. So it's not necessarily that he opens you up to this and now all of a sudden it's not actually one size fits all, right?
Gotcha. Yeah, no, it can't be.
Let me tell you, the level of sadness that I have in my body is quite different than yours.
Sure.
Okay. And so we're all these like sovereign beings with these energetic recipes. So meaning, the higher our vibrations in our bodies can be, and let's use the light, and we can carry that light and all that good within us, it attracts people and situations and things from the other side that have high vibrations.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm with you on this. I do want to go back to the portals thing real quick because that brought something. So I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist. So have you heard of CERN? CERN? Amy?
No.
Have you heard?
Enlighten
Oh, okay.
me. Oh, yeah. Enlighten me. Sorry, I took
Okay.
a sip of water.
No, you're good. So over in, I believe it's Switzerland, there's this facility called CERN where they have the Hadron Collider. And basically it's like miles long. And what they do is they like slam atoms together and slam molecules together. And they're doing all these crazy scientific experiments. And in the conspiracy theory world, people believe that what they're trying to do is actually open up a portal to negative entities, to hell, to any, name it, whatever, but to allow, bad things to come into this world. And by slamming these molecules together. I don't know all the science behind it because I'm not that kind of person, but I just wanted to get your thoughts behind that. Like, could evil people be doing something like this? And is this even possible?
Yes, but they could be. They could be, but guess what? I have the ability to open up positive portals. So, meaning I believe that like prayer, meditation, and intention are all the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And even a spell, like in witchcraft, I think that it's all the same thing. It actually sits on intention. So meaning like when I was seeing clients face to face in my office, I built a couple portals that no one knew they were there. I knew they were there to allow, these high vibrational spirit guides, everyone amazing that I work with, right? To come in through the portals to allow me to help people through their struggles and through the despair and give them messages of hope and love. And so if, I believe that humans could also open up negative portals that actually they're not even aware of. Like I get to actually see like a positive portal and negative portal. So if I walk into a house and I can feel that the energetics are low vibrating,
Mm-hmm.
I may choose to suggest to someone, that, to energy clear their home because there's a portal or things that aren't serving them well. And there's different ways you can do that. We won't really get lost in that now, but,
Sure.
so meaning there are ways that as humans, we can open up portals without being mindful of it. But this isn't a fear-based message. This is just knowing that your energy and your thoughts and your words are powerful. And so how we hold ourselves, be mindful that you have a power within you. And so like the law of attraction, we attract what we give off, we attract back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So keep going. Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say that just reminds me, like when in vocabulary or grammar or whatever, they use the word spell to, like when you're spelling a word. It's interesting that they use that because it's almost like you're casting a spell with your words because they have so much power behind them.
Yes. So like I am statements are powerful. Like I am beautiful, or I am enough, or I am worthy. So like they're powerful. And then the more you connect with your truth and in your soul within, you can say them confidently and with conviction, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And a lot of humans struggle with that. They do, mirror work and look at themselves and don't feel that they're beautiful, or they don't feel that they're enough. And so, like thoughts and words are powerful and can connect you to your power source, which is the soul within.
Mm-hmm.
So getting back on track, do I think that they are creating this thing through science? My gut, when I psychically dip into it, is I think that that's not the main intention.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's another intention. Oh, did you lose me?
Yep, you're back.
Oops, sorry.
You're
sorry.
good.
That's what happens when we go live. So, I feel that that's not the main intention, but I do think that it's not the most highest vibrational thing that's happening in the world right now.
Sure. Okay. No, that's totally fair. And then one thing I did want to point out as well, I know that you were saying, and aliens on the most part benevolent. I don't know if you were aware of this, but I was watching a documentary, and in the past, probably the past 50 years or so, there's been a few nuclear launches that were about to happen, and a UFO went over them and shut the entire thing down. So that right there just is proof and point that, like,
I have chills through my whole body.
Yeah, they're like, nope, shut this down.
Because it's think about nuclear energy and what as humans we want to use it for. Has nothing to do with love and compassion. Zero.
No. Yeah, that
so
might be the lowest vibration thing ever.
Right? So I just taught you that aliens in a different dimension are all about love and compassion. And they're a powerful, powerful energetic source. And so I love that proof that you just gave. So yeah, they're going to come on in and be like, not happening. But let me go one step deeper with it.
Okay.
So I teach, as Angel Amy, I teach a lot about duality. And duality is basically the core or the root of energetics or energy. And it looks like this. There is black and white. There is bad and good. There is wrong and right, right? So now we have two opposite ends of the spectrum. And Earth, in duality, Earth is actually the dark to heaven's light. Okay? So think of, on these two opposite ends of the spectrum, the middle is harmony. So if Earth is the dark to heaven's light, we need Earth, heaven needs Earth to sustain a certain vibration in order for there to be harmony with two opposite ends of a spectrum.
Okay.
Our dimensions in heaven are actually the dark to another universe's light.
Whoa.
So see the aliens, right? So you see why they're interested in Earth? Because it trickles down.
Yeah, we're like the babies, I feel like. We have such a long way to go.
Listen, we are so low on the totem pole. But here's what's beautiful is that's an earth lens, a third dimensional lens that we're low on the totem pole. Your beautiful soul, I always talk about that beautiful soul inside your body, right? Is actually connected to a higher dimension. So in essence, this is the illusion. We're not really low.
Gotcha.
Because the soul is higher, and there are aliens in physical bodies here. I'm friends with a couple beautiful ones, beautiful star seeds that are connected. Their soul is connected to a higher dimension. So you can then see how the alien would come, right, to stop the nuclear.
Yeah, there's always a failure that they can't explain. It's so crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
Isn't it cool?
Yeah, so that just comes full circle to what you were saying.
Yeah, love it. So let's just take a couple minutes. We just have a few more minutes. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about, do you want to talk about numerology, or do you want to talk about your theory with the Great Awakening?
Let's go Great Awakening. We can always come back, do another show in the future if you want.
Absolutely. I would love that. Okay.
All right. So as I mentioned, I'm a conspiracy theorist, so don't hate me. I just think differently than a lot of people. But basically what I believe is that this world has been run by satanic pedophiles for a long time.
Okay.
Pardon my language. I won't say anything bad. But I think that what happened was people on the elite level, there are still some good people. They saw what was going on, and they came up with a plan to try to, subvert all of this, take the world back. So there's this, what I believe is there's this dual thing going on right now between a military intelligence operation and coinciding with a worldwide spiritual awakening. And it's, basically good versus evil at this point. And I know a lot of people, and we're not going to go down this path, I know a lot of people don't like our president right now. I think that he was actually chosen to do this by, the people who came up with the plan, not because he's the greatest person in the world, not because he's very eloquent with his words, more so because he ran in some of these circles. He knows these people, he knows what they're about. And, all these good people saw that the bad people at the top were starting wars, trafficking people, poisoning our food, pharmaceuticals, basically poverty, hunger, everything that they're causing doesn't really need to be. So they basically put this plan together to awaken the world. And it seems like it's happening right now, because if you look, I don't know if you've seen, but all these human trafficking networks are being taken down. Like I said, I know that Trump isn't everybody's cup of tea, but now that I feel like he was chosen by these guys to be the face of it, while they take over, I guess, the NSA and everything, to get all the dirt on all these people that are, because think about it this way, you can't just come out and tell the world that the people running it are satanic pedophiles. You have to come with a lot of proof, because even then a lot of people aren't going to believe it, because they're so ingrained in their beliefs. So there has to be a spiritual component to this. I actually wanted to show you this. I just got this in the mail.
Yeah.
The 1111 code, the Great Awakening by the numbers. And so we can get into numerology next time. I haven't started reading this yet, but I'm really excited because it's showing, I guess, through all this research that these numerology's been a part of this, and we're all leading towards a great awakening and hopefully some type of earthly shift to a new dimension, if you will.
Yes.
So,
all right. So
tell me what you think.
Thank you for sharing all that. And this is a non-judgment zone, and I think it's beautiful to hold these conversations and listen to each other and hold space for differences. So yeah. I was born with the ability to see the really big picture, and I see everything through energy. So I actually think if I apply or explain this spiritually, there's a lot of truths in your theory. I do. So let me start here is, I'm not necessarily trained to look at the players, but I'm trained to look at the energetics. This is why I don't get lost in politics. And so I just explain how there's good versus bad and dark and light. And so that's part of the duality, right? And so when I do remember before I agreed to come here, and there was a rather large spiritual project on the other side, in which they were sending old souls with high vibrations, so souls that had mastered certain things, to come to Earth to keep this dualistic recipe. Okay. Sure. Because we were tanking quickly, right? And so basically in my world, these are known as indigo children. And there are large amounts of crystal and rainbow children that have these souls. And I can come back on and explain to everybody the differences and what all this means. But for sake of time, what happened is that that these souls inside these bodies, these old souls, came to begin to alter Earth for the better, so that heaven's vibration could sustain Earth's and vice versa. Okay. And when these old souls came, remember in the 70s, before you were born, no one did yoga. Like, everyone thought it was wacky. And, I don't know if you know who Shirley MacLaine is, but in like, oops, and losing my battery. In 1980, I remember her talk. I was 5. She was talking about the chakras, and people thought she was nuts. And you and I both Reiki masters, right?
Yeah, chakras are my deal.
Right? Have a beautiful intellectual conversation on all this stuff. So basically, the indigo children came to be the change makers. The change makers came first because now everyone does yoga, and there's a whole lot of people, especially in my community, that talk about the chakras, right? So you can see my point here. So this was the first phase of what you're talking about is that in any universe there's always going to be dark and light. However, now in 2020, we're shifting to what's called a new earth and a new awakening. And the new awakening has to do with fifth dimension, which is reigned by the Christ consciousness, okay? Which is the dimension of love and compassion. And third dimension have merged. And so what's necessary is the vibration of earth is now heightened to a different level. Okay. And there are energies here, such as pedophiles and murderers and drug lords and whatever else yucky we can think of, that are not going to be able to sustain these vibrations going forward. So your conspiracy theory actually speaks to the human lens behind my spiritual theory. This is our beautiful crossover as friends, right?
Love it.
Yeah, in which I'm trained to teach everyone the energetics behind the scene, what you're explaining. So I am not a Trump person, right? And I'm also not a political person. Sure. At all. I'm actually into I'm a humanist, right? And a spiritualist. But it is necessary here on earth to have politics. Politics are actually the lowest vibration here on earth.
They have to be.
Politicians are the lowest vibrating humans ever. And so basically we're set up in this hierarchy of this political world where the energetics, right? The energetics have to work up towards that so that the change makers can then make things happen, right?
Sure. Okay.
Now, I'm just going to end with this, is that really the young people, anybody, I would say, I'm going to say 30 and under, are really who are going to start to make the changes here on earth for the greater good and the higher vibrations, because they're naturally built inside their souls to have a non-tolerance policy for anything that is not in alignment with love and compassion. Okay. Awesome. Does that kind of, do I answer a little bit about do you need me to then move it over into more of the theory? So
well, for me, I mean, my big thing is I have a feeling that we're on the precipice right now. Like things are about to start happening. Maybe they have been behind the scenes, and I just hope I'm here to see it in my lifetime. I'm hoping that that we can see the world change to a better place.
Yeah, I do think that over, I'm going to say the next 20 years, I think the next 5 years, our world's going to change drastically. But over the next 20 years, we're going to start to see a completely different, a different earth. And what this means is that like systems are breaking down. We're starting to see like corporate America is breaking down. I'm someone, as you know, I worked in corporate America for years, and corporate America is breaking down. Hospitals are breaking down. Politics is breaking down. These systems are breaking down because in order for us to live with this fifth dimension mentality. There needs to be much more free flowing energy. It's more intuitive, where systems and are very rigid, right?
Right. And they're antiquated and they're built for this lower vibration. They're not built to sustain a higher vibration. That's why this has to happen.
Right. Look at that wisdom. Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah. So yeah,
no, that was great.
Yeah. All right. Well, this was an excellent, awesome conversation as always, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining me today.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. Do you mind if I just plug my show real quick?
Oh, absolutely. Please do. Tell them all about it.
Okay. So maybe some of your people are into this, maybe not. I have my own conspiracy theory show with a couple of my buddies called the Channel Zero Show. It's on YouTube under the Kirk Minahan Network. I also have my own separate show called The Antidote, where I do like half an hour deep dives on specific topics. That's where this will be featured probably. We don't really get into the spiritual stuff on the Channel Zero show because that's more like strictly conspiracies. So I love having the opportunity to talk with you about this. I want to do this again if we can, and
absolutely
keep the conversations going. So
yeah. And thank you for all of that, E. And if you're new to me actually through E, then you're able to follow me on YouTube and Facebook. I'm all over social media. My website is myangelamy.com, and I'd love to have you in some of my classes.
Excellent.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, have a beautiful day.
You as well. Take care.
All
Thanks
right,
so much.
I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the conversation. I thought it went in a variety of directions, which were pretty cool. One thing I did want to share with you guys, didn't want to do this beforehand, but after now. So after Angel and Amy and I had this conversation, she texted me the very next day. We were having some crazy thunderstorms and whatnot. And she texted me saying, crazy night last night with the storm. Lots of portals opened up. I kept hearing, we are here to help the children, over and over again. I got goosebumps. And here we are now. It's a little bit past that. And Ghislaine Maxwell has been arrested. So there's definitely some connection here. The Great Awakening is happening. I hope people are as amped for it as I am. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. Next episode, I've been requested by a number of people actually to dive into Pizzagate a bit more and the whole satanic pedophilia. So lots to cover on that. Stay tuned, and thanks for tuning in. Take care.
You about to lose your job. You about to lose your job. Get this dance. You about to lose your job because you are detaining me for nothing. You about to lose your job. You about to lose your job. Get this dance. You about to lose your job. I'm Martinez. You about to lose your job. Get this dance. You about to lose your job. Get this dance. You about to lose your job because you are detaining me for nothing. You about to lose your job. Get this dance. You about to lose your job. Get this dance. You about to lose your job because you are detaining me for nothing. You about to lose your job. Get this dance. You about to lose your job. Get this dance. You about to lose your job. Get this dance. You about to lose your J-O-B. You about to lose your job. Get this dance. You about to lose your job. Get this dance. You about to lose your job.